I just wanted to contact you to say thank you so much for coming to meet us yesterday. I am Harry's mother. I asked him for your contact information so I could talk to you. I'm sorry for sending you a message just out of the blue like this.
Oh, no, the pleasure was all mine. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to meet and talk with me. So, Harry had given you my information, right? I understand. Not a problem. Just to make this formal, I am Leanne. I look forward to talking with you more in the future.
Oh, no need to be so stiff. Don't worry so much about such formalities. Anyway, this might be a bit sudden, but there's something I felt that I needed to let you know. Or, to be more to the point, I wanted to tell you what the final decision was after meeting you yesterday.
I'm sorry? What do you mean by the final decision? Decision on what?
I am referring to the impartial judgment I have come to regarding you after thoroughly interviewing you the other day. After my thorough investigation, I have decided that I will not be permitting you to marry my son, and will be henceforth canceling your engagement. Harry should also be contacting you shortly regarding this decision as well. Thank you for your time, and have a good day.
Wait, what? This isn't just something you drop on someone out of the blue. What are you talking about? You'll be canceling the engagement. What do you mean?
Oh my. Could it be that perhaps someone like you doesn't know what it means to cancel an engagement? I thought young people like you looked all sorts of things up on the internet, no? If you don't understand something like this, why not just look it up like you young folk do with everything else? Unless my preconception was mistaken.
What sort of idiot do you take me for? Of course I know what canceling an engagement means. What I'm asking is why on earth you are trying to cancel it. I'd say that's more mistaken here than your preconceptions. And that's not even getting into why you think you have the authority to make such a decision, like some supervisor at a job interview. Are you not aware that this is something that should be decided by the two people involved, rather than by a third party?
Oh, I see where the confusion has come up. I believe you might not be thoroughly aware of the situation. It sounds like you think I silenced Harry's objections and am trying to cancel the engagement because I disapprove of you, correct? I'm afraid that is not the case. Not that I blame you. People like you often tend to think only in regards to what's most beneficial for you instead of everyone. The truth is, I have discussed this at length with Harry as well, and he is well aware that we are having this discussion.
What? Putting aside your aspersions on my character, you're saying he also feels the same way? He hasn't spoken a word with me about anything regarding breaking it off.
You certainly don't seem to be very adept at understanding things now, do you? Did you not understand me when I said that this was my judgment after having spoken with you only yesterday? Of course, Harry said that he felt he should tell you himself, but for news like this, I thought that it would be better to let you know as soon as possible. Don't you think? That's why I decided to give you the courtesy of contacting you directly instead. Although I think a message should arrive for you at some point today from him as well. Of course, it would only come once he is finished with work for the day. He is a hard-working man after all.
What on earth is going on here? I can't believe something like this could be happening. I need to confirm this with Harry right away.
Oh, what is this now? Are you saying you're going to bother him while he is in the middle of work? You truly do not have the slightest hint of common sense, do you?
How can you say such things? Do you have no compassion for other people?
Tusk. Calm down. You're going to make me laugh with all this rash behavior. It really is unbecoming of a woman to act in such a way, you know? I imagine you don't have any idea why you're deserving of this treatment. For you to be in such a tizzy over just this one thing, I wonder if you have perhaps realized the reason why it has come to this. Well, having seen how much of a fool you can be for myself, perhaps it's more reasonable to assume that you have not. It does seem like more of a case of the latter, I suppose. Not that that comes as much of a surprise.
What makes you feel like it's appropriate to talk to someone like that? What are you? Some sort of high society person that judges everyone else? Brazenly insulting me like this is going way too far. I don't know what part of you thinks this is acceptable.
Oh my. Such uncultured girls can be quite scary sometimes. All I have been doing is stating facts, yet to react with such harsh accusations. It really does show how poorly you were raised, doesn't it? I can't think of any other reason. Well, I suppose this is exactly the result you would come to expect from a single-parent household, isn't it?
Hold on a moment. The idea seems so ridiculous that I hesitate to bring it up, but... Are you saying that the reason you're deciding to cancel our engagement is because I grew up in a single-parent household? You're not actually saying you decided to make such a big decision just because I only had my father to raise me, are you?
Why, yes. Yes, I am. What is so ridiculous about that? It seems like a perfectly logical reason to me.
Are you truly serious?
But of course! I was completely shocked when I first heard. To think that Harry would find someone with such a troubling upbringing acceptable. That's why immediately after you went home, I told him, a woman raised in a motherless household isn't fit to be a wife. After all, if he were to marry someone, that woman would become one of our relatives, no? What a ludicrous notion for someone like that to be allowed to marry into our family.
Are you saying that Harry was in total agreement with what you said?
Yes, he was. I wouldn't be contacting you like this if he wasn't. I would never go behind my dear son's back for something like this. Anyway, you should just give up already. There's nothing more to be said.
That's insane.
You really are quite persistent, aren't you? It's so pitiful to see someone who just can't accept the truth. Well then, if you have such a hard time believing me, why not try confirming with the man himself? Anyway, I do not have any further business with you, so I will now excuse myself. Well then, goodbye.
You're on your lunch break now, right? Please get back to me as soon as you can.
What is it? I can't call you right now. Is there something urgent that you need to talk to me about?
Don't you at least have an idea about what it is I want to talk about? Just a little while ago, I was contacted by your mother. She was saying all sorts of things about how she was going to break off our engagement.
Oh, I see. So she was talking to you about that, huh? Can we talk about that this evening? I would really prefer to not waste my lunch break if I can avoid it.
What are you talking about? Waste it. Since when was talking to me such a waste of time? Haven't you always taken the time to talk to me before?
Well, the situation is different than before now, right? I thought it would be clear. The engagement has already been broken off, so it's not like we have any obligation to each other, after all. We're just two unrelated people now.
Oh no, not you too. Are you telling me that you actually agreed to breaking everything off?
Huh? Well, yeah. Mother told me it wouldn't amount to anything good, so...
What are you talking about? You're saying that if your mother tells you something is bad, then you just follow her word? No questions asked? Aren't you old enough to think for yourself and not rely on her word for everything?
No. You've got it all wrong. It's not like that. All it is that after I heard what Mother had to say, I thought that she might have a point. That's all. So, after thinking about it for a little while, I thought, yeah, that sounds about right. Nothing more than that. Though, to be honest, even if I was opposed to the whole breaking off the engagement thing, I can't say I feel like things would have ended up going very well anyway, yeah? I mean, Mother was opposed to the whole idea from the start, so I guess I just felt like there wasn't much of a choice other than to break it off. Do you see what I mean?
No, I don't see what you mean at all. What are you saying? If that's how easily you can change your mind about something like this, you shouldn't have proposed to me in the first place.
Come on. I can't really help it now, can I? Mother is, well, pretty darn stubborn. She isn't exactly the type that's willing to bend her thinking for anyone, so what can you do? I feel like it'd be better for you if you just stay quiet and give up on the whole idea, okay?
Are you really fine with just leaving it at that? Don't you have your own opinion about this too?
Well, when I said I felt like there wasn't much of a choice, I meant that that was a choice I could live with. So, yeah. I am a realist. And to be honest, it's not like I was hugely interested when I was with you anyway, so...
How could you say such a thing?
Well, anyway, I'll make sure to call you this evening. Considering I'm the one who proposed to you, I do feel like I have caused you a bit of trouble with all this after all. I will pay you for all of the trouble I've caused you, so let's talk in more detail about that tonight. Anyway, I'm busy right now, so I need to go. Good evening, Leanne. Well, I apologize for contacting you at this late hour, but there just happens to be something I would like to confirm with you, if you don't mind.
Oh, good evening. So, what is this thing you so desperately needed to confirm with me about?
Well, I heard a number of things from my son, and... Well, I actually wanted to ask you about your father. He is my son's employer. Is that correct? If I'm understanding things correctly, he is one of the main people involved with commercial affairs on the board of directors. Yes?
Well, yeah, you're right. What about it?
No. Well, I'm so sorry. I'd like to apologize. I mean, I was thinking, why didn't Harry mention something so important beforehand? I truly am ashamed of my conduct.
Okay.
Well, the thing is, I hadn't thought to ask a thing about your lineage. And yet, despite all that, I went and started saying way too much, going far beyond what one could call respectable behavior. I am so sorry about everything. With one of the directors of Harry's company being involved, to say the situation changes dramatically is quite the understatement. I really have treated you quite terribly, and I apologize.
Oh, is that so?
I completely understand how angry you are with me. Really, I do. You see, this is just a problem I have run into as I have aged. I think I must have just lost my head for a while. Do you think we could perhaps forget about that trifling matter of breaking off the engagement and try again with a fresh, clean slate?
Well, there's something I'd like to ask you then. Does Harry have any idea that you're contacting me like this?
Of course he does. Why, as soon as he came home last night, he just happened to mention that little tidbit about who your father is. He said something like, well, we're at the same company, but there's not going to be any trouble, is there? Or something of the sort. He just mentioned it with this absent-minded look on his face, and... Well, my husband and I just got so flustered at such a revelation. I couldn't believe he was hiding such an important piece of information. My little Harry really does have those little moments, doesn't he? He just goes off into his own little world sometimes. I've always said he tends to be a little lacking when it comes to consideration for others. On top of that, he would always just not think about anything that didn't hold his interest and just leave it all for others to take care of. Yes, it's like studying is the only thing he's ever been good at.
Yes, I see. Yes, I think I would also be pretty quick to apologize if I had such a poor eye for people. I guess it must just come naturally by now, doesn't it?
I don't think you need to go that far. Well, anyway, how about it, Leanne? Don't you think you could take back the cancellation of the engagement? Of course, if you would like a formal apology, I would be more than happy to oblige. Could it be that I am, perhaps, not coming across as very sincere?
Well, let me think about that for a moment. Well, to be honest, I think your intentions have come across quite clearly.
Is that so? Oh, I am so happy to hear it. Thank goodness.
So you're fully on board with your son getting a demotion, right? Rest assured, it has already been discussed between the parties involved. but I will make sure they promptly follow through as planned.
What? Demotion? Just wait, hold on a moment. What? What do you mean when you say demotion? What do you mean by follow through as planned?
Oh, could it be that you can't comprehend what I'm saying? I mean exactly what I said. Demotion. I mean, your son has quite considerably slighted both me and my father, after all. And on top of that, there's the whole issue with the marriage and its cancellation. My father has already spoken to a number of the other directors about the subject. So, they are all quite well aware of the situation. Of course, the news of our engagement being broken off has already become common knowledge among both the directors and company employees. Thanks to that, things are currently in quite a precarious situation.
Are you telling me that there isn't anything you could do to stop this?
Oh? Whatever could you mean? Are you saying you want to cast shame upon my father a second time?
No, of course not.
I am afraid that this has already turned into a situation that simply cannot be rectified by an apology. I am working at one of the company's subsidiaries, so I am afraid I don't exactly know what is going on at headquarters, but from what I've heard from some of my other colleagues, there have been all sorts of worried messages and reports flying around. For someone to insult a director's own family structure and use it as a basis for breaking off an engagement, people feel that the man who would do such a thing is not only horribly prejudiced, but also shows a complete lack of understanding of society at large. There seem to be all sorts of rumors spreading around the company at the moment. I suppose Harry probably doesn't exactly understand how things came to this, does he? Well, I suppose he is quite a spineless person after all, isn't he?
Wait, what? Please, hold on a second. Isn't there anything that can be done about this situation?
No, I'm afraid there is not. This is all unrelated to me, after all. And I can't say I particularly care about what happens to Harry at this point anyway.
Wait, please don't say things like that. Please, you have to help us. I'm begging you. Isn't there any way you can take it all back?
No, I will not. Well, anyway, if you will excuse me.
No, wait. Please, just hold on. I'm pleading with you. Please, can't you just think over marrying Harry one more time? Could you please rethink your position on it?
You know what? Okay, sure. I'll think about it one more time. And having thought over it again, I've come to my decision. No. Anyway, I really must be going now.
No, wait. Please wait. Don't go. Leanne, what have you done? Things are completely out of control over here. For the fallout of something like breaking off an engagement to have escalated to this extent, I have never seen my reputation at this company plummet so much.
Oh, is someone finally starting to realize that he shouldn't have just blindly followed Mommy's orders? Well, no matter what you say, it's far too late, you know. I will not accept any sort of reinstatement of our engagement. I will not let you take back what you've broken.
Wait, that? I'm not really concerned about that. What I don't understand is why I'm being told that I'm going to be demoted.
Oh, what? Are you saying you're not pleased to hear that? And if you just suddenly went home early, people will start gossiping about what's going on, you know? Who knows what they'll think?
Wait, you already know that much? Anyway, I'm telling you that you need to do something about this. This is something you started, remember?
Me? Oh, no. You're the one who started this whole mess. This is a problem that all started with you. Don't forget that this whole incident with breaking off our engagement, that alone was at a level that required compensation in the first place, no? This is not just a situation that you can just describe with something like, as if it was just some trifling matter. Do you not understand that?
Well, that is,
At this point, telling me that you don't want to be demoted is just you acting out of desperation, isn't it? Are you really that much of a workaholic? I guess instead of marrying me, you prefer to marry your job, huh? Oh, wait, I see now. You're really afraid of being seen as worthless in the eyes of the higher-ups, aren't you? Up until now, you've had a pretty good reputation with them after all. If your primary goal was to protect your position at the company, then you really shouldn't have broken off the engagement in the first place now, should you? Well, whatever. It's far too late to be thinking about that now.
You don't understand. What I'm trying to say is, there's no way I should be getting treated this poorly just over something like breaking off an engagement with someone.
Wow. Even after I called it out directly, you're still saying it? Do you just not pay attention to anything I say? Given how clueless you've been acting, I wouldn't be surprised if you're not aware of this, but do you realize that breaking off an engagement with someone is by no means a simple, carefree matter? The two of us were engaged to be married. Regardless of what reason there might be, deciding to break off something like that, that's something that both parties involved would need to meet and thoroughly discuss before deciding on, isn't it? Considering how much of a role your mother played in everything, to not even think of talking to my father about it as well. Don't you think you might have been overstepping your bounds a little?
What? That's just an exaggeration. Nothing more.
We told both of our families about our engagement, remember? We made formal announcements to everyone. Marriage has an impact on more than just the two of us. It affects our families as well. That's how important it is. You're already 30. You should fully understand this by now.
Huh. I guess that would be what someone the likes of you values most. What are you talking about? We have to meet and discuss things first. That's not the day and age we live in anymore now, is it? To me, something like that isn't such a big deal.
Wow. This is utterly astounding. I am not even sure how to respond. I suppose the best thing to say would be that you just shouldn't have proposed in the first place then.
What are you talking about? This and that are two completely different things. That's just how things go in that sort of situation.
What? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, you were talking about how we had been going out for 2 years, you know?
Yeah? And? I fail to see how a statement like that somehow gets interpreted as, please propose to me. I didn't say anything close to that. I wasn't expecting a thing when I said what I did. I was just commenting on how it had been 2 years. I just find that sort of thing to be important to me. Nothing more.
Then why can't you just think of breaking off an engagement with that sort of nothing special attitude?
I'm sorry? Excuse me? What could you mean by that?
Well, I mean, look at it the same way that you had just casually talked about the 2 years we spent together, right?
Yep. I figured that's what you'd say. That's why I've been trying to tell you that breaking off an engagement is not such a thing you just casually do. Furthermore, our society sees such a thing as quite a cruel thing to do. You know that?
Why, I ask you? If you just think about it from my perspective…
You really have been saying a lot to me with such a rude tone. Do you realize how seriously you've insulted us? I'm telling you that that's why you ended up being demoted. There were already all sorts of rumors circulating about how the daughter of one of the directors was going to be marrying one of the company's employees. For such an engagement to be broken off by said employee, let alone for the reasoning involved, there's no way he would get away without some kind of penalty.
I mean, sure, I get that, so… Isn't there something you can do? As the former fiancé, isn't there something you can do about this?
What on earth makes you think I have to do anything about it? What you have to do is properly accept the consequences of your actions. By the way, have you spoken with your mother at all about this? I can guarantee that she will just try to tell you to reconcile with me. All she cares about is trying to get me to marry you. Meanwhile, you, being the thoughtless person that you are, would just try to beg her to find some way to fix your mangled reputation in the company. The both of you only think about what would be best for yourselves. What the hell is wrong with both of you? You are both completely insufferable. Both of you! Please never contact me ever again.
Wait, that's… I
have no idea what your situation is, nor all of the circumstances surrounding it. Can you just stop trying to wrap me up in your own problems? With all of the trouble you've caused us, rest assured that I will be retaining an attorney and doing my best to get compensation for your horribly prejudicial actions. Try to be sincere when responding, okay? At the very least, both my father and I have been considerably disgraced and embarrassed by all of this. And might I remind you, it is entirely your fault.
Please, Leanne, I'm begging you. Can't you possibly reconsider going forward with marrying my son? He has been reflecting on all that he's done over the past few months. So please, won't you please change your mind? Please, would you think it over again just one more time?
Oh, was it really shocking when you received that mail? I guess it must have been so stressful seeing how everything ended up being exposed, huh?
Excuse me?
I can hardly believe that he was already engaged to some other woman. Ms. Cooper or something, was it? Wow, it looks like the mother and son have completely different opinions about what to do. And they certainly don't match very well. Well, it makes no difference to me. This just means there will be more compensation money coming in. Adding on such a betrayal of trust to what's already happened, I'm quite thankful to receive that extra bit of income.
No, wait. Please don't say things like that. I'm telling you, I was against the entire idea from the start. I don't know if it was some childhood friend of his or something, but to just marry someone from such an unremarkable family. I mean, there's not a single merit in a decision like that, right? You, with your much finer upbringing, are just a much more spectacular woman than she is. I even asked him, which person does he think he should hold dearest to him? As if it shouldn't already be obvious.
Huh? What in the world are you talking about? If I remember correctly, am I not the one who initially failed to meet the clearly exacting standards of your thorough interview? You had told me that you had made your final decision about my value and upbringing to begin with. And yet now I hear you trying to convince me that you felt like this all along? Do you really think that I would so easily go along with such a brazen attempt at buttering me up after how you've treated me?
But, that's why I was telling you that I had no idea. If I had known the whole situation with just how important a figure your father was, I would have never contacted you the way I did in the first place.
Oh, is that right? So, essentially, what you're telling me is that all you care about is my family's money?
Well, no. I'm not saying that's what's most important or anything.
Well, in any case, you seem to have gotten quite flustered now, haven't you? Considering how your son has ended up breaking off both of his engagements.
Ah, I see now. So you were the one pulling the strings the entire time, then.
You and your son's opinions seem to be so at odds with each other that I couldn't help but find it particularly strange. Harry also gave off the impression that he was trying to hide something from me, too. So I did some digging into the whole situation, and it turns out the whole situation was even more screwed up than I could have imagined. When I met up with the other woman he was engaged to and told her all about what was going on, she was unbelievably shocked. Appalled, even. I can't believe this. There is no way I am going to marry such a horrible, conniving man, were her words, if I remember correctly.
Ugh, that impudent woman. She thinks that someone with such a worthless lineage like hers can say such things. Of course I wouldn't let things continue with her.
Huh? But you also knew about everything that was going on, didn't you?
Huh?
That's why I said I couldn't believe how you were trying to convince me of the exact opposite of your initial opinion. The only way you would try to start singing my praises so readily is if you had known about both engagements to begin with and need to make one stick.
No. That's not how it is. I was just trying to tell him to make sure he chose the correct person. That's all.
Or, to put it bluntly, you were trying to get him to keep me around, right? I cannot believe you. Well, whatever you try to make him do, it makes no difference to me anyway.
Wait, please wait. Don't you realize I'm giving my permission? I'm giving you permission to marry my son. This sort of chance doesn't just come along every day, you know.
Yes? And?
If you were to marry him, there would be all sorts of advantages for the both of you, don't you see? Harry would be able to get back his reputation at work, and you would get to have one of the best husbands a woman could ask for. One of the best husbands a woman could ask for? What part of him gets anywhere close to fitting that description? A two-timing man like him can't even get by with being called a terrible husband. He would be one of the worst husbands imaginable. To put it bluntly, to me, there isn't a single shred of good that can come from marrying someone like him. It sounds to me like you're just speaking total nonsense. If you want someone who will believe that garbage, try looking in a mirror. What did you say?
You really are desperate, aren't you? To start off with such a haughty attitude, insulting me and my family straight to my face, then to do a complete 180 and start trying to treat me like royalty or something? I can't help but laugh at how ridiculous this all is.
No. That's not what's going on.
Do you finally get it now? I'm not exactly free right now, so I simply must be going. Don't forget to pay the compensation you owe us. If you don't, I'm afraid my father and I will have no choice but to go to trial.
Go to trial?
Oh, would you prefer it if we did that?
No, just wait a moment. What I'm trying to say is that trying to meet those demands will ruin me. If only Harry had actually told me about your father beforehand. None of these horrible things would have had to happen to me if he had just spoken up.
Well, personally, I am happy the engagement got broken off myself. After all, I can feel much more at ease that I didn't end up becoming related to such a terrible man and his mother. Harry contacted me one last time, begging me to get back together with him and go forward with the marriage. Given that he's a pathetic, spineless man who just follows everything his mother tells him to do, I obviously refused to reconsider. After I flatly refused his desperate request, I got $20,000 in compensation for all the trouble his family caused my father and me. As for Harry, the rumors of his infidelity spread through the company like wildfire. I heard that things at work got so painful for him that he started just not coming in at all, and he was eventually fired. With such a blotch on his career, I can imagine it will be particularly difficult for him to find a new job now. Well, since he has his precious mommy dearest by his side, perhaps he can still manage to live out a happy life after all. Although, from what I hear, he seems to have turned his back on his father throughout all of this. He's certainly not happy, and I heard that if Harry doesn't find a new job soon, he might get driven out of his house entirely, mother in tow. When I shared this info with Miss Cooper, she and I just laughed together for a long, long time. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you felt great after hearing the story, please leave a like and a comment in the comment section below. Please look forward to the next video.